Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're heading to Italy to uncover the story behind one of the most iconic and frankly, wobbliest structures in the world, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. We've all seen the photos tourists pretending to hold it up, but have you ever wondered why it leans in the first place? Is it a brilliant architectural gag, or just a colossal mistake? Well, let's find out. Our story begins way back in the 12th century, in the powerful maritime republic of Pisa. Riding high on its military and economic successes, Pisa decided to flex its muscles and show off its wealth. They began an ambitious project, the Piazza dei Miracoli, or the Square of Miracles. This complex would include a magnificent cathedral, a baptistery, a cemetery, and of course, a grand bell tower. Construction on the tower kicked off in August of 1173. The first phase went pretty smoothly. Workers laid the foundation, a shallow 3-meter stone ring, and began building upwards. But just 5 years later, as they reached the third story, something strange started happening. The tower began to sink on one side. The ground beneath it, a soft mix of clay, fine sand, and shells from an ancient riverbed, simply couldn't handle the weight of the massive marble structure. The southern side started to dip, giving the tower its now famous lean. Faced with this engineering nightmare, construction came to an abrupt halt, and it stayed halted for almost a century. This long break was actually a blessing in disguise. It allowed the soft soil underneath to settle and compress, which probably saved the tower from toppling over completely in its early years. Fast forward to 1272. A new architect, Giovanni di Simone, bravely decided to resume the project. He had a clever idea to compensate for the lean. He would make the new stories taller on the sinking side and shorter on the other. If you look closely at the tower today, you can actually see the curve. It's not just leaning, it's shaped a bit like a banana. This attempt to straighten it up didn't quite work. In fact, the added weight of the new floors only made the foundations sink further, worsening the tilt. By the time they reached the 7th floor in 1284, construction was halted again, this time due to the Battle of Milan, where Pisa was defeated by Genoa. It wasn't until around 1372, almost 200 years after it started, that the belfry was finally added and the tower was officially declared complete. The 7 bells were installed, each with its own musical note, but even the placement of the bells was carefully considered to try and counteract the lean. Of course, by now, the lean was an undeniable and somewhat alarming feature. For centuries, the tower continued its slow, graceful descent. Many feared it was only a matter of time before it would collapse. The famous scientist Galileo Galilei, who was from Pisa, reportedly used the Leaning Tower in the late 16th century to conduct his experiments on gravity, dropping objects of different masses to prove they fall at the same rate. While this story is likely a legend, it adds to the tower's mystique. By the 19th century, the lean had become a major tourist attraction, but also a major concern for engineers. In 1838, an architect named Alessandro della Gardesca decided to dig a walkway around the base of the tower to show off the intricately carved foundation. This was a terrible idea. He dug a pit, water flooded in from the unstable subsoil, and the tower lurched southward, leaning even more dramatically. It was a close call. The 20th century saw a series of increasingly desperate attempts to save the tower. In the 1930s, Benito Mussolini, who was embarrassed by this crooked Italian symbol, ordered engineers to straighten it. Their plan was to drill hundreds of holes into the foundation and pump in tons of concrete. The result, the tower dipped again, sinking another few inches. It seemed that every attempt to fix the problem only made it worse. By 1990, the situation was critical. The tower was leaning at a terrifying angle of 5.5 degrees, the most extreme it had ever been. Experts predicted it could fall at any moment. The Italian government finally took drastic action. The tower was closed to the public for the first time in its 800-year history, and a team of the world's best engineers was assembled to find a solution. This international task force spent the next decade working on a stabilization project. After debating dozens of complex ideas, they settled on a technique called soil extraction. It was a delicate, high-stakes operation. They carefully drilled angled tunnels under the northern side of the foundation to side that was high. Slowly removed small amounts of soil. The idea was to gently coax the tower to settle back into the space that was created, reducing the lean. Imagine the pressure on those engineers. Day by day, millimeter by millimeter. They removed soil while a web of steel cables and huge lead counterweights on the north side provided a safety net, and it worked. Over the course of several years, they managed to reduce the tilt by about 45 centimeters, bringing it back to the angle it had in the early 1800s. The tower was finally stable. In December 2001, after 11 years of restoration, the Leaning Tower of Pisa reopened to the public. It was declared safe for at least the next 300 years. Today, it's not just a beautiful piece of medieval architecture. It's a monument to human ingenuity and perseverance. The very flaw that should have doomed it became its defining feature. A happy accident that created one of the world's most beloved landmarks. So, the next time you see a picture of the Leaning Tower of Pisa, you'll know the incredible story behind its famous tilt. It's a centuries-long saga of miscalculation, near disaster, and brilliant engineering rescue. From a construction project gone wrong to a global icon, the tower stands as a powerful reminder that sometimes our greatest imperfections are what make us truly unique and memorable. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this trip to Pisa, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures into history. Let me know in the comments what other famous landmarks you'd like to learn about. See you in the next video.